What's going on, guys? This is MMA Complex, and my name is Josh.
And I'm James.
We're back. It's a brand new episode. It's August 20th. It's Tuesday night over here in Los Angeles, and it's been a good day. It's been a long weekend, and we're back with a brand new episode. We were just talking about today. I had my first cigar today. Not bad. It's almost like you abandon everything that you
You learn
learn
through
about
smoking.
smoking. Don't inhale. You basically go the politician route. I never inhaled. Never. You just keep it in your mouth, kind of like just savor it a little bit, and then you let it out.
It's
Pretty.
weird,
It's
huh?
weird. It's different.
Yeah. But you know what? Like you do get a slight buzz from it.
A little bit, yeah, and it's hard not to avoid like. It's hard not to have the reaction of like just inhaling just a little bit, but I tried to avoid it as much as I could. So, no, we'll see. But it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. It was like a wasn't any special cigar. It was one that you could probably buy here, but had that some wine. It was just a friend of ours over here. So um, long drive both ways over there. We were over there in where we were at near UCLA Westwood area. So it was
Oh wow.
just due to traffic because it's a long drive.
Yeah.
But other than that, we'll get right to it, man. We had a good weekend over at UFC 241. Stipe and Cormier battled it out. Second time for those two. Um, Damn, what a card, man. I would say probably one of the best cards we've had all year.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
like I don't want to say the best card of the year, but
So far it is. Even though
it most
we're
likely is. I didn't want to
yeah.
say it in the beginning, but I was like, you know what, it might
Because
be.
like you think the next pay per view is gonna be the Khabib fight, but it's a one fight
that's a
card.
one fight card right there.
And then I think next week's the China card, which is
And that's a one fight.
again
Yeah,
a
another
horrible
one
fight
fight
card.
card. Hmm.
So I mean, and that's I think the one card that probably beat it is the MSG card because they usually stack up that card.
Yeah, but that one's at towards the end of the year, so
Yeah,
hopefully we have something decent before then.
yeah,
But as far as the beginning of this year and early on, it's like
yeah. So far, this is
this might be the best card of the year,
yeah for sure.
which is pretty sad. And not sad in terms of that we go through so many cards month after month and week after week, and we have one with just a typical solid main card that we normally have come to expect from UFC over the years, and it seems like it's just gotten kind of worse over year after year.
Yeah,
Um,
it just seems like
the matchups have been good,
yeah.
but the cards themselves have been
I think this is the best card
lackluster.
because from January on before 241, um, it's usually like one fight, maybe two fights that are good, and the rest are kind of like at
Yeah,
the bottom of the pole. Or this one, you had the last three fights of this card were
yeah,
epic. So
yeah, yeah. I would say the last few cards, if they were good, it was just a main event, co-main event. And that's about it.
yeah,
This was a solid main card. Exciting from the beginning to end. The undercard was pretty decent. I didn't actually catch much of the undercard, but I heard good things. I heard good things about it. Corey Sandhagen beating Rafael Sensao. That's no walk in the park.
hmm
Sabina Mazo picking up a win. Um, but definitely Derek Brunson defeating Ian Heinisch in the opening bout of the main card. It was a great one to kick off the night. Derek Brunson more calculated this time around, even though he came out hot. Um, showed his veteran in ring knowledge and really picked up a solid win over Ian Heinisch. It was an exciting fight though, huh?
yeah, it was. And then I actually got to watch this card with you. I brought my girlfriend over. It was fun.
Yeah, we watched this one together. Um, yeah, Derek Brunson. I would say at that whole fight, the what I took from it was that Derek Brunson really showed his his in ring knowledge and his veteran composure.
He was more versatile this time around
Yeah, yeah.
than other fights.
Like it looked like it was going to be a rough go for him, especially with that head kick early on.
Hmm.
But he ended up being staying cool, calm, and collected, and just fighting the fight and picking up the win and just winning rounds and winning exchanges. And it
You
was
always forget that he's still around.
yeah, yeah. He's one of those guys that just like
They pop up out of nowhere.
that pops up and you're like, oh damn, he's still there. You know,
Yeah,
he's
it's
still
funny.
active. He's still dangerous.
Yeah,
Um, only the top guys really get past him.
yeah,
Um,
he's a solid fighter for sure.
yeah, yeah. And you have Sadiq Youssef defeating Gabriel Benitez. That was an exciting first round. Just one round exchange between the two. Ultimate Fighter. I think were they Ultimate Fighter alums? I don't know if Sadiq Youssef was an Ultimate Fighter alum. But Gabriel Benitez definitely was in the
He
Latin
was
American one.
season 3, right?
Yeah. Um, good exchanges between both. It was like there was no clear cut winner in terms of the exchanges, but then obviously at the end, Sadiq Youssef before the end of the first round picked up the win. That was a good solid win with him.
Yeah, no, it was, and both guys are coming forward, and it was typical Mexican fighter. Going in there and putting that out in line. It was really exciting.
Yeah, yeah. Nothing for Gabriel Benitez to hang his head on. He just kind of got caught. I mean, in a fight like that, somebody was going to go down.
Yeah,
So it's one or the other. Um, and then we got into
the
the
meat and potatoes
first,
of the card. Yeah,
yeah, the first fight of the main card that really was everybody was waiting for. And this was one of the fights I was probably waiting for, but it was Paulo Costa Yoel Romero. It's just, I mean, and a fight that lived up to the hype. It was just an insane fight. I think we missed a little bit of the second, but for the most part, got an idea of how this fight went down. First round, second round, third round. Just insane back and forth. What I took from it was Paulo Costa was no joke. I mean, we didn't know how he was going to handle a top five guy, um, and how he was going to react to getting hit. If he was going to be able to take Yoel's exchange, like
his power
his
shots.
flurries, his power shots, and if he was going to be a hang in there for all three rounds, and he did, and he even though I think it was a close enough fight because I didn't see we didn't catch some of the second, but it was a close enough fight to where at the end of it, we definitely saw the first and the third. Um, I was like, you know what? Like, I honestly, whoever wins, I'd
Yeah,
be, it's not a robbery either way.
no, I think a lot of the fighters scored the fight for Yoel Romero. I heard,
Yeah,
but it was one of those fights where whoever won, it wasn't a robbery or anything. But
it was close.
yeah, it was. I mean, the shots that Paulo took was insane,
Yeah,
and
Yoel too. It
yeah,
was
you're
just,
all yeah. I mean, both guys are like superheroes from a comic book. Like,
yeah,
they're shredded and to this day, I mean, Ural's 40 years old and he hasn't been popped for anything. So that's
42.
all. At 40, yeah, and he's like to have that kind of body not being popped. That's he's like a freak athlete. But
Yeah,
yeah, it was a back and forth rock'em sock'em.
yeah.
Even Ural, took him, used the wrestling, but not enough of it. But
But credit to Costa, he
he
got
got
taken
up,
down and got
yeah.
right back up.
And I think you're right. I think Acosta passed with flying colors,
Yeah,
and he proved that he's a force in this division.
yeah. It was a close enough fight to where there was no loser necessarily. You have Yoel showing that he's still dangerous.
I felt bad for him.
Yeah, yeah. Show yeah for Yoel showing that he's still dangerous. He's still a top five athlete in the sport, and he still can win at any given night. And tonight just wasn't his night. It didn't go the way of the judges.
Yeah.
Um, but that at 42 years old, he's still a force to be reckoned with, and he's not going away anytime soon. Um, with Paulo Costa, it showed that he belongs there, that he's tough enough.
And the
So
UFC needs
yeah,
like a young guy in that
yeah,
division, so
yeah,
he
and
can be that guy.
he's some fresh blood,
And he has
and
beef with Israel.
yeah, yeah, And he's an exciting matchup, and he has an exciting style. That's a very like boxing, kickboxing oriented style, but he has enough wrestling defense, jiu-jitsu defense to make it an interesting fight. And he's big enough, powerful enough to fight an Israel or a Whitaker if whoever wins the title at the towards the October, I think.
because they are gonna fly
Yeah,
Paulo out to
yeah,
Australia for that fight, and I'm hoping. I mean, I love Robert Whitaker, but
yeah.
I mean, a fight between those guys will be kind of boring, as far as
Could.
getting to the fight itself. But can you imagine Israel and Paulo going at it back and forth? And
Yeah,
I don't know, I don't see Israel wanting to wrestle him. Like I think he'll be wanting to
yeah.
stand toe to toe. It'd be an interesting fight.
Now, yeah, I think it would. Now for me, it would probably be. I don't see either Yoel or Paulo defeating Whitaker or Israel.
Mm,
I see them. I see Whitaker or Israel kind of. They have the chin. They have the all around game, and they have the more accurate point fighting type of striking
hmm
to where they can create enough space and win enough rounds against guys like a Yoel or a Paulo Costa that
mm,
are more of that kind of bite down on the mouthpiece type of
yeah,
like guys. So either way, I don't. Even though I like Paulo Costa and I think he really showed, what he's made of in this fight, and that he belongs there in the top five, and obviously he's the number one contender. I think in my opinion, um, I don't see either one of them holding the belt anytime soon over
yeah,
a Whitaker or Israel. I think whoever wins one of those two is going to be champ for a while.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Um, you have Nate Diaz defeating Anthony Pettis. The return for Nate Diaz after a nearly 3 year
3 years,
layoff.
yeah.
Um, obviously showed a little. I mean, if you watch the fight, he showed a little
Fatigue.
fatigue halfway through. Um,
But
I,
his explanation of why he felt tired made a lot of sense. He usually paces himself. He usually fights in 5 round
oh yeah,
fights, and he
yeah,
wants to pace himself. But he said that since it was a three
yeah.
round
He went
fight,
all out.
he had to go out in the first round.
Yeah. No, no, I don't question his gas tank
Yeah,
necessarily, but then you have to also take into account the nerves, the adrenaline dump, 3 year layoff in front of a sold out crowd.
and fighting Anthony Pettis, a person
Yeah,
who had a
it,
reset in his career and
I
at
think,
one seventy.
yeah, I think with ring rust, it could be applied, and mostly it could be applied to the little things, the timing, the energy, the reaction to a crowd, being put on the spotlight. That's when I think it really takes
Plus he had that
effect.
co-main event slot.
Yeah, being a co-main event. I mean, he could have easily just gone right into a main event, if anything. This could have easily been a main event. Um,
But goddamn, what a performance
yeah,
from Nate Diaz! He looked like he hasn't lost a step,
no, no, he
and
went in there. He looked good.
that
He
pop
fought
that
his fight. Yeah,
he got a huge pop.
yeah, he fought his fight, and he ended up picking up the win, almost nearly finishing Pettis towards the end.
Yeah,
Um, Pettis was lucky to just roll out of it a little bit and get to his safe space, some safe space. But Nate Diaz proved that he's still there. I hope he remains active as long as him and the UFC could work out contracts and all that and deals. Calls out Masvidal towards the end. Um,
goddamn,
but
what a
overall,
fight that would be.
I know your thoughts on the fight itself. How'd you?
I think, yeah, I think that you know we all know the Diaz brothers. They don't usually check leg kicks, and fortunately for Nate Diaz,
You didn't
the
have to do
one leg,
much.
the one
Yeah.
leg inside leg kick that he did check broke Anthony Pettis' foot in the first
Mm-hmm,
round.
mm-hmm.
And you saw after that first round, Anthony stopped kicking, which benefited Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz didn't give Anthony any space to work his kicks, even though he was in throwing kicks,
Yeah.
and he forced Anthony Pettis to fight Nate Diaz style of fighting. That's dirty boxing and with relentless punches, and he hurt Anthony Pettis in that fight, and he could, like you say, he could have finished it, but Anthony Pettis a savage veteran. He didn't allow that to happen. But you know, people, I think Connor included, was expecting Nate Diaz to call
Yeah.
him out, and I think Nate Diaz played it well. I'm going to ignore Connor, and trying to irk him that way, and I'm going to call Masvidal for the what he calls the baddest motherfucker bout. And Nate Diaz has total respect for Masvidal. He wasn't talking crap, right? He said,
No, no,
respect
no.
for the man. He's a true gangster, but he's not a West Coast gangster. And that fight is gonna be epic, and I think it's probably gonna sell a lot of pay per views, and it just eliminated Nate Diaz as a superstar.
I think they should make that a headliner.
Yeah,
Even though I know UFC's in the business of putting
a title.
title fights as headliners, I mean, you can easily put that as the main event for the MSG card, like, and that will sell out, or any other card up leading up to the rest of this year. But towards the end of the year, now it's what, August. You can put that towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, if they do that, then a title's gonna be in front of that fight.
Yeah, it's gonna probably most likely it's gonna be a co-main event, but that fight could easily main event
Which isn't a bad idea because it can be like a middleweight kind of tournament with like you can have the middleweight belt
or
defended.
welterweight.
I mean welterweight, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
can be
yeah.
like a
They could have
welterweight
Colby and Usman
fight in the
in the
main
main
event.
event, and then you
These
got
guys,
Diaz and Masvidal in the
yeah,
co-main
and
event.
that can kind of set themselves up for whoever wins that main event, the next
Yeah,
fight.
yeah.
So it could be like a little mini tournament that night. So in that case, it's not too bad of an idea.
It's not. It's not. That'll be a really good card. That'll be a solid co-main and main event right
I mean,
there.
because all three parties want it. Dana is open. Dana
Yeah,
said that he'll do it. Nate wants it. Masvidal wants it. Both Nate and Masvidal want to get paid.
yeah.
For the UFC.
Okay, and then we have the main event. You have Stipe and Daniel Cormier, and the main event goes 4 rounds. Exciting 4 rounds, interesting 4 rounds. I think most of the judges had DC winning the first three, going into the fourth. Um, for me, I wasn't necessarily at that point wasn't really keeping count. I think we saw because I think we saw we didn't see some of the second, and I don't like to judge when I miss anything from around. Um, but the but wow, what a turnaround in the fourth. You had Stipe landing those body shots. Then he landed the 1-2, and sends Cormier back up against the cage, finishes him off, and then that's it. Stipe regains his title. Um, I mean, who would have who would I'd not say who would have thought, but like DC is not somebody that is beat ever if you're not John Jones, and to see Stipe or to see anybody come back from losing their title and regaining it, and then regaining it over somebody like DC, it's just like it's crazy, man. That's a big feather in Stipe's cap. Uh, he can make an argument for one of the best, if not the best, heavyweight of all time. Maybe even make a case, to have a big fight for a rubber match for DC if he chooses to come back. And overall, man, a solid fight. I mean, if, I Stipe was for me. Stipe was a little flat-footed. He took a little bit. His head movement wasn't really there. He was a little um, taking a little bit too many shots and leaving himself too vulnerable at times. Same with DC, keeping his hands down, walking straight forward. Um, you saw, you saw. I think in this fight, when Stipe landed or he threw 1-2s, it wobbled DC. It sent him back. Like it affected him way more than DC's punches against Stipe, and DC threw everything at him, and Stipe was still there, man, and still pressing forward. And eventually, you could see the tides turning, and then the fourth, he just closes it out, and then it's just Stipe is a heavyweight champ again. It's crazy.
No, it was crazy. I think DC kind of built on his game plan. I think the first 3 rounds showed DC, implementing his game plan and pressing forward and hitting them and mixing his wrestling. And then I think DC got kind of cocky and he was moving forward with his hands down, trying to prove a point, tell to prove a point that he can take Stipe's shots, and
Yeah.
I think that was a big mistake on DC's part. He got too careless. I think DC watches that fight again. He's gonna realize that he messed up pretty bad by doing that. And I think I'm trying to take any credit away from Steve, but I think DC kind of defeated himself in that fight. I
Yeah.
think he left his. I think by him leaving his hands down and wanting to make it a striking match, open up those body shots, and he got defeated, and Stipe is the champion. Now, DC. It took DC. I mean, it took Stipe 13 months to get that rematch. I mean, I don't see Stipe returning the favor anytime soon. But if he doesn't, and DC still wants to compete at a high level, now that the title is not around DC's waist, you can have the John Jones fight right there, um, either at 205 or heavyweight, or the UFC can pay John Jones a boatload of money, and have John Jones face Stipe for that heavyweight championship.
So yeah, I think if if Stipe and DC fought 5 times, 10 times, I think they each win 5 out of 5. You know what I mean? It's like five five. You know what I mean? Like they'll be each split it.
Yeah, best five. Yeah,
Yeah,
best out of five. They both.
because I think I don't think that DC lost this one just because of a bad approach. I mean, I think he lost. Um, it was an extension of the first fight. I think DC um, looked vulnerable. Got 8 shots from the distance. From a bigger guy, and not just a bigger guy, but because DC's fought big guys before, but a guy that can move and is smart and intelligent like Stipe. Um, that DC can't just wear down and psych out and bully almost. And I think that he when after the first round, Stipe was still there, and and I see if they fight again, I can see it happening again. I can see DC losing, maybe even quicker the next time. You know, um, I,
Yeah,
I,
only
I,
time will tell. Yeah,
yeah, I can see either. I think these guys can fight each other 10 times and they'll split. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where they have that thing in them. Um, DC won catching. No, I want to say it wasn't a fluke. He saw an opening, he capitalized it. Stipe didn't expect it and dropped him and took him out.
yeah,
This one, Stipe hung in there, weathered the storm, and took DC out towards the end. And it's one of those
yeah. I
things.
felt bad for DC, but I was happy for Stipe also.
Yeah, I felt bad for both. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those things. Like if either way it went, you don't want to see any of these guys lose. But someone has to lose, and that was almost for all these fights. But especially for this one, you didn't want to see either of them
Yeah, because
lose.
both guys are very likable.
Yeah. And then because if DC lost, yeah, he can hang it up. He's got a really solid career in broadcasting. He's won both titles. He's defended both titles.
He made a lot of money. I think
Yeah,
I think for saving that 200 card, they paid him $4 million.
yeah. He's made a lot of money. He does nothing to prove anymore. If he won, if Stipe won, then he could reclaim his title, fight defend his title, reclaim his
I
position
think
as
that
one of the best heavyweights of all
he should just
time.
like be a coach at AKA, continue as be a coach for that wrestling school, and
Broadcasting and do all that
yeah,
stuff.
and then although he lost, he's still gonna be considered one of the greatest of all
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he lost, and even if he was, going into this fight, even if he did lose, it was not a big loss for him.
Yeah,
He's 40 years old. At this point, I know Stipe is like 37 or something like that. So they're both up there in age, but um, you know, either one of them. I think more because Stipe is gonna hang around a little bit longer. I was kind of rooting for him. The fact that because you don't want to lose to another guy, and then let's say DC rides off to the sunset, and then that's it, and then you're champion by default. That sucks. So I'm kind of glad that Stipe won the way he won, and even though I didn't like to see DC lose, I was happy he reclaimed his title and he can
Yeah,
he can defend it.
yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah, Ryzen also happened over the weekend. Horiguchi losing, which is a big shocker, I think, to the MMA community, especially the hardcores who caught Ryzen. It was a one fight pretty much card, but it kind of flew under the radar. It was Ryzen 18. Horiguchi, probably one of the best in the world, um, and losing to Kai Asukara, who I think there's two Asukara brothers from what I heard. I think I heard Luke Thomas talk about these guys. There's two of them, and they're pretty much like the Japanese Diaz brothers. They're just really rebellious, and they're you know they're just really rough fighters. You know what I mean? They go all out. So Horiguchi getting caught early on, and Horiguchi is always undersized in his fights. But I mean, the guy's so skilled. He's probably one of the best in the world outside of Demetrius Johnson, and he's holding two belts. I think he's holding the Bellator and the Ryzen belt. Um, and he loses to this guy, Isakara, and it was a big shocker, I think, to a lot of people. But though I'm sure Ryzen will look to do kind of like a rematch, set it up soon.
Mm-hmm.
But Horiguchi's been on a roll and been on fighting a lot over the past few years. So you know you could chalk it up to scheduling. You could chalk it up to the fact that Isakara is just a dynamic fighter and he got caught and took him out.
Yeah.
It could be both. So that happened over the weekend. Um, Over that, although there's any matchups that have been made or that could be made out of 241. You have the Diaz and Masvidal. That's a great fight. Hopefully they can work that out in terms of
Yeah, I think the rest is I think that's the one fight that can be made.
yeah. Stipe,
Um,
he has three options: DC rematch if he chooses to come
yeah.
back, John Jones if he wants to challenge John Jones, or the most likely scenario would probably be him and Ngannou too.
There's one thing I want to talk about.
Mhm.
Because you're a Connor guy. What do you want of Connor hitting that with, man?
Oh,
I know a lot of people are like fighter. A lot of fighters, a lot of beating people, and a lot of fans are just done with Connor. I seen videos of like
yeah,
throwing the whiskey bottle or like just being done with him
yeah.
and not. Because I mean, the bus incident was one thing, but hitting an old man like that, it's like it's hard to support him nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
No.
I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I
No.
mean, I think I think this is indefensible in a lot of ways, but I look at it more culturally. The Irish, can you not see that happening in any Irish bar? Like it's almost like a normal custom. Like what do you like them talking shit and just throwing hands? You know what I mean? Like it to me, it's almost a cultural thing. Like I think people in that situation, I think they'll forget. For him, it's just stupid. You're a celebrity. You got a lot of money.
Hmm.
You're a vulnerable target to anybody. I think that guy didn't even press charges. Um, and he could have had a lot of money that he had to pay off. So he kind of got off. This it's an old case. I think it happened. This whole situation happened
April?
back in like April.
Yeah.
It was just the videos barely coming out. The guy never pressed charges. Is it defensible? No, absolutely not. No, should he have done it? Absolutely not. It was a stupid thing on him. No, should he get back into fighting or do something to get him out of those situations?
But I think
Yes.
because he's a fighter,
Because he's a fighter, should he know better? Yes. But then I also look at it like a lot of fighters get into a lot of trouble. Yeah, Bada Hari out there always. I mean, he got into even worse trouble, breaking guys' legs and smacking people at hotel desks,
yeah,
clerks.
I think the people's most complaint is that the fact that the guy was an old man.
Yeah, as an old man, but he kind of smacked him a little bit. I don't really. I
He
mean,
gave him a left hook.
if he beat him up and like really blooding him up and left him on the floor like half dead, yeah. But
Yeah.
he denied him and he like fucking smacked him like he
No, he
fucking
punched him.
yeah he punched him. But the
That was
guy.
no smack. That was a left hook.
But honestly, it's like whatever. I'm not sensitive to that shit. I don't give a fuck, man. To me, it's mostly just it's a cultural thing. You have Irish guys just
Hmm.
in the bars, and people won't even say it. You go to Ireland, like once the sun goes down and the bars open up, shit happens. Shit goes down. People fight in the streets, and then they shake hands and go to work the next day. It's a cultural thing in a lot of ways, and it doesn't happen in all bars. No, does it happen here? No, but like you think over there, you think their mentality, you think like that kind of
I mean, according to
culture.
the Irish people, stuff like that doesn't happen as far as gro- old people getting beat up.
No, 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 it doesn't. Of course not. But like people's like throwing hands occasionally and
Yeah, I mean, I think
yeah,
people like at their own age, they probably fire a lot. But
yeah.
I think the Irish people said that even at our pubs, stuff like that never happens.
But I think people,
I think even with them, there's a line that they don't cross,
yeah.
and
But
that
like the dolly, you could do the phone smacking the phone out of the reporter's hand and or like the fake fan autograph hunter. Um,
yeah,
to me, it's more. I feel for I'm like, yeah, it's more of like, damn, you got to get yourself out of the situation. Like, I'm not like, oh no, like
Connor can't do no wrong.
ban all. No, I'm not even like that. I'm like, but I'm not like quick to like people I think make a big old deal of it and be all self righteous. I don't go fuck that, man. Like, it's just like shit happens. They're fighters. You talk shit to a fighter, you could probably get smacked. And then if you're in Ireland, you're definitely gonna get smacked. It's like it's and I'm not gonna judge somebody. I think it's more of like same with John Jones. He's done probably. I would say he's probably done more worse. But it is it. The UFC used half of this stuff as promotion. Connor, it's more of just like, damn, you got to get yourself out of those situations because it's expensive and you get yourself into trouble. But does it change how I feel about his fighting career, or does it change how I feel about him as a person? No, I still think he's probably a pretty decent dude. I think his fighting career has spoken for itself.
yeah.
And
I
now it's just that dead time. It's that time off that
his fighting, yeah, his fighting is something else. But I think his personality kind of sucks now. I just think that he's intoxicated, drug. I don't know what's going on. Like it just seems like he's a wild card, and any little
yeah.
thing sets
But
him off.
he's been even when he hopped the fence over the cage over at
Yeah,
Bellator
that's what I'm
Ireland
saying.
event.
Like he's just
No, he's definitely got an ego, and he definitely
because
has.
he wasn't like that before. I think all the money and all the fame kind of got to his head, and he's a different person now than he was a year ago, and it's showing.
A year ago, I don't know. A lot of the stuff was happening. The Dolly happened 2 years ago. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
since 2016,
I think
since his rise to the
I
UFC.
think there's I think he was always kind of been like that in terms of his outside antics. Like I think in his home life and his family life, I think is one thing. I think how he treats goes around other people, his promotion, and how he goes about the fight game. I think his it's I don't know. I don't see that these actions. They're not to me like I don't know. I don't look down on his character as a person or
No,
like
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
does
it's
it not
because
it
of
doesn't look bad.
it's because of the money and his fame
You
that
should avoid situations. I think the money and the fame, I
has
think
got to him.
emboldens some of
Oh yeah,
these
definitely. Because
sides of
his
him.
rise to the UFC, he wasn't like this at all.
Yeah,
It's when he got all that money, he started acting a fool.
yeah, and a lot of time off. You have a lot of time off, but you look at a lot of athletes when they have a lot of time off, they get into a lot of trouble.
Hmm.
They get into accidents. They get into assault allegations. You have a lot of money. You have a lot of time on your hands, and no one tells you no.
Hmm.
Shit happens, and with this incident, no, I don't look at it. I don't think it looks good. Definitely doesn't. It's not really. You can't really defend it. He did hit the old guy. Does it change the way I felt about him? Not necessarily.
But
No.
it's funny, no, but because he wasn't even talking smack. He just said that he didn't want to whisk it.
Yeah.
That's why he smacked him.
And
That's
no, but then I think they had like a little brief exchange. It's hard to tell what what
yeah.
words were said. He could have been like, no, no, fuck you, and you fuck your whiskey, and then you got to think of it culturally. And you have two Irish guys, and then one says, no, fuck you and fuck your whiskey. You'd be like, what the fuck you mean, fuck you and fuck my whiskey? And then he smacked him in the face. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Well,
Culturally,
punch, not
yeah,
smack.
puncturally,
Yeah.
culturally, I could see how that shit went down. And just so happened that he's Connor and there's cameras.
Hmm.
But you put that in any other bar, and if anybody said if the guy bought rounds for the whole bar, was like he just got a promotion, goes in there and some other guy says, no, fuck you and fuck you, this whiskey. And then you go like, what the fuck you mean? Fuck you and fuck my whiskey. And then they get into it. I can see that shit happening, throwing punches.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm
I
not
don't know. I mean, I'm just basing off what the Irish people say that so that stuff with the old people, they respect their elderlies and they don't hit.
I guess, but I'm not like whatever.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm just saying
Yeah.
like they're saying like they respect their
I know.
elders, so they don't hit their
I
elders.
know a lot of people can't defend this guy. I get it. I'm not looking to defend Connor, but I'm looking at when I saw it, I'm like, yeah, that's not good. Oh, fucking Connor at it again. But then I'm like, oh well, I looked at the video. I was like, it's in Ireland though. I mean, like I envision that shit happening in bars every now and then, just people throwing down sometimes,
Yeah,
just for the fuck of it.
To be fair, it's that's an assumption that probably isn't true.
Yeah, yeah. But then it could be.
It could be true. Yeah, it could be.
It could be. You go to a Mexican bar or like any other bar in Texas, and then people throw down and go into the back out and throw it. It should. When you're dealing with alcohol and situations like that, yeah. But then you have someone who's got money, who's got ego, and you go into that situation where there's alcohol involved and insults, and culturally, you got to take that into account.
I think people's problem was that they felt like he should just walk away because he was an old man.
Oh, they should have. Yeah, he definitely should have. No,
because he's an old man.
Oh, yeah.
If it was someone else, yeah, punch that guy in the face. But he had to consider that this guy's in his 60s.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he should walk away and not hit a 60-year-old man in the face.
But I think, yeah. The age is a factor, yes. But I think in general, he just shouldn't hit anybody in the face. But
Yeah,
but I think he
I think because the guy was an old man, I think that's what
that and just Connor being himself. Just avoid those type of situations. Don't go into bars at all.
Because he has a bunch of
unless it's a promotional event. Don't go into a freaking bar like that, and because you're Conor McGregor, man.
This could plummet his whiskey business. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
It could have. It could. Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't condone it. I don't think it's right. I don't think it looks good at all. Does it hurt him? No, it probably will go away. And the guy never pressed charges, so it'll definitely go away. He's not facing any fines or any jail time.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I just chalked it up to two Irish guys, regardless of the age, getting into an argument. That's what I chalked it up as. But it being Connor, I was just like, oh, fucking Connor, get at it again, man. Like you gotta get busy.
He needs to win fights. He doesn't want to fight, and who knows how long.
You gotta win fight. You gotta win fights, or
he looks done because like he doesn't want to fight in such a long time.
That
he's doing all this.
That and he hasn't been active. You have 2 fights in the last 3 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to, yeah. It's the inactivity and all that stuff. It doesn't help his case. Bellator is this weekend. Mitrione versus Karatanov. I'm sorry, Karatanov 2. First one ended with a low blow. Kind of ended the night early. You have other than that, not too much. Not too much since 241 happened. So we'll take a look at this card real quick. You have a large undercard. For this fight, you have David Rickles on the card. You have Alejandro Lara on this card. Javier Ayala versus Vitaly Minakov in the co-main event, and you have Matt Mitrione versus Sergey Karatanov. This is a redo. It'd be an interesting fight. They're gonna go at it again. First fight ended in disqualification or like a, I don't know if it was. I'm pretty sure it was a disqualification.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think? Who do you got in this fight?
Mitchell by knockout.
Mitrione by knockout. I'm gonna go with Mitrione. I think he redeems himself in this one. I think he's the one who landed the low blow the first time around. I think there'll be a more competitive fight. Hopefully, Mitrione picks up the win. I'm a fan of his, and Sergey Karatanov has been around for a long time. No slouch. Took out Roy Nelson and a couple others, and since he's been in Bellator, so it should be an interesting one. That's this weekend. That's August 24th. That's in Bridgeport, Connecticut. That's on I think Friday.
Yeah.
Other than that, and anything else in the news since
No, I
241?
think
Not a whole lot, huh?
I think we covered it all.
Yeah, you had Contender Series tonight. You had Family Feud, I think, aired recently.
Sunday, every Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, you had Family Feud with the Bellator people. There's a few Bellator guys, Randy
Yeah.
Couture,
WWE guys
Chuck
versus
Liddell.
UFC, yeah.
Oh, was it WWE versus
I think so.
MMA? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Um, was it Woodley? Was Woodley in it?
I believe
I'm
so.
thinking Ryan Bader, Alima,
I know the
Chuck Liddell,
I,
Woodley.
I know the Bella Twins are part of the WWE side.
Oh, okay. Was Randy on there or no? No, huh?
I don't
Maybe it
know
was
actually.
Chuck.
I know Lima McFarlane was on there.
Yeah, it was pretty good little set of. It was interesting. WWE and UFC. That's cool. I'm not sure who won. I don't know if it was. I think maybe MMA guys won. You had a Ronda Rousey recently posted up I guess she cut her finger in one of the television shoots for WWE, I think. So she had a nasty little gash in her finger. She looks all sad and stuff. Other than that, not too much going on. This Bellator this weekend. Thank you guys all for watching and listening. Catch you next week.
Yeah, follow us on social media.